We're going to be diving into the volume balance in this video. Super excited to be diving into this, and I'm going to show you some really awesome tricks to be able to get a excellent volume balance right off the bat to really set yourself up for success. As I've already talked about how important the volume balance really is, this is about 90% of our mix right now. So let's dive into it. This is exactly how I would go about actually volume balancing this mix. We've already got our essentially just sonic bass line out of most instruments. And so now we're going to be volume balancing. My first step is to just select everything, just Command A and drag it down to nothing. So there's no volume at all coming out of the DAW. And now what I'm going to be doing is diving in and just bringing up one item at a time as I would have laid it out on the baseball diamond. So anything that is closer to me on the baseball diamond, that's the first thing I'm going to be bringing up. So I'm going to start with my snare and then just keep working backwards on that model. All right, and so I'm going to bring that up to about 0, and then everything else is going to be in relation to that snare. On your face, take your time to appreciate all the choices you gotta make, all your beautiful mistakes. When you're down, take a step. If you think you'll second guess all the choices you've ever made, all your beautiful mistakes. When you fall on your face, take your time to appreciate all the choices you gotta make, all your beautiful mistakes. Wrote this song at least 3 times. When it comes out wrong, only one way to lie. I tell myself it'll be alright, you'll get there, and don't you cry. But even if you do, tears won't make this song sad. When you're down, takes. Wrote this song at least 3 times. When it comes out wrong, only one way to lie. I tell myself I don't think I said six. Wrote this song that when you're down, take a step. If you think you'll second guess all the choices you've ever made, all your beautiful mistakes. When you fall on your face, take your time to appreciate all the choices you. When you're down, take a step. If you think you'll second guess all the choices you've ever made, all your beauty. When you're down, take a step. If you think you'll second guess all the choices you've ever made, all your beautiful mistakes. When you fall on your face, take your time to appreciate all the choices you gotta make, all your beautiful mistakes. Wrote this song at least 3 times. When it comes out wrong, only one way to lie. I tell myself it'll be alright, you'll get there, and don't you cry. But even if you do, tears won't. I look inside my eyes, I tell myself it'll be alright, you'll get there, and don't you cry. But even if you do, tears won't make this song sad. When you're down, tell myself it'll be alright. You'll get there, and don't you cry. But even if you do, tears won't make this song sad. When you're down, take a step. If you think you'll second guess all the choices you've ever made, all your beautiful mistakes. When you fall on your face, take your time to appreciate beautiful mistakes.
Move I just made there was I turned down the bass and both kicks because I was noticing on my analyzer that area was becoming really, really strong, a little overhyped. And so by clearing that, by just dipping those down, 2 decibels or so, really helped with the overall volume balance. Don't get too hung up on any one item in here during the volume balance, because obviously with EQ, we're going to be doing a lot more changes in terms of being able to bring things out a little bit more. And if you just keep finding yourself, turning something up and then turning it back down to then turn something else up, you're probably going to have an EQ fix some of those issues rather than volume. But by really working on the volume balance here, we're getting so much closer than we otherwise would have been and setting ourselves up for a real success later in the mix. We're almost done here. We've got a couple other synths and then our guitars, and then we'll be pretty much done here. So let's dive into these last ones. And part of what I'm doing too is when I'm bringing something up in the mix, I'm not actually paying attention to that instrument so much as the other things that I really want to be able to be the forefront of the mix. So if my guitars are starting to cover up my vocal, I know that I want my vocal to be in the front. And so I'm actually going to then back off those other things that I'm bringing up to then be able to hear the vocal again. And I think the vocal is a little bit quiet. The snare is pretty loud and front and center, which is I like, it is good, but I think the vocal could use a little bit more. So let's bring that up a decibel.
If you think you'll second guess all the choices you've ever made, take a step. If you think you'll second guess all the choices you've ever made, all your beautiful mistakes. When you're down, take a step. If you think you'll second guess all the choices you've ever made, all your beautiful. When you're down, take a step. If you think you'll second guess all the choices you've ever made, all your beautiful mistakes. When you fall on your face, take your time to appreciate.
And so you'll also notice that my actual mix bus is very low in terms of the overall volume. And that's because I really only brought up my main instrument, the snare, most of the way to fill up that front space inside of my mix. And then everything else was in relation to it. So I don't want to be just constantly turning things up because I can't hear them. Again, I'm paying attention to the other aspects of the mix that one item is impacting. A super pro tip for you, if you start to implement that, especially early on in your mixing, then you're going to be that much further ahead than everybody else. So make sure that try to understand that aspect of the mix, because it is so critical to be able to get a good mix rather than just good instruments that are kind of squashed together. So the last thing that I wanted to show you really quick, and I cover this in more detail in other trainings, but when you get done, you should be looking at your analyzer and making sure that it roughly matches what pink noise is. So pink noise is essentially the perfect balance of sonic energy. And so we essentially want to relatively match that inside of our mixes. And so when I'm looking at my balance here, after I've done everything by ear, using the various models and anything else, references, etc., then I want to be able to pull out my analyzer and I want to just watch the analyzer move. And if it relatively matches pink noise, which on this analyzer, it's, kind of peaks at right around 62 hertz and then should slowly go down. And so you can look at my overall curve right now, just as is, the peak. That is what pink noise looks like. That's roughly what we want to match inside of our mix. Let's just play it and then make sure it does match that. And then we know that we're actually at a really good starting point for our volume balance in terms of the overall sonic quality of our mix. So you can see I'm a little bit weak in this 1 kilohertz range. And so I might bring up my something that lives in that area. Maybe this. Yeah, so some of those moves sort of helped. I think I'm gonna really have to dive into the EQ to really truly fix that issue of that weak 1 kilohertz range, but you can tell it's really, really close to what a real mix should look like, just flat across, and I know that I've set myself up for success in the right direction. So again, I would probably use some references as well as some other techniques like the rule of 3 to help me balance this even more. But I want to keep this short and sweet for you so you can keep moving on with the training. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope that you got a ton out of this one in particular, and I will see you in the next one.